All right. Welcome everyone. I am, for those who don't know Twin Essence, I should do a little introduction of us, but I am Lacey and I am the Lyran Starseed of Twin Essence.
And I'm Marley. I am the Syrian Starseed, half of Twin Essence.
So today we are here to have a Starseed disclosure discussion, and essentially this is a space in which we share channeled messages for the collective. It usually relates to Earth's ascension and what is unfolding for the collective currently.
Whether you're familiar with us or not, Lacey and I have a big mission with Twin Essence. And part of our mission is paving this ascension pathway for the collective. And we do this in both on an individual level as well as on the collective level. So when we hold a disclosure discussion, it's because we are being nudged. We have channeled messages for the collective, and we've been being pushed forward to essentially share what we're receiving with all of you. And we receive this information from a place of neutrality. It's not opinion, it's just matter of fact. This is what they tell us, and it helps us understand what's unfolding right now and where we can put our energy. So that is the intent, is to help you understand what's unfolding and maybe where you want to put your energy right now.
Do feel free to put questions or anything in the chat as we go along with whatever we're bringing through and the information. But we're very, very excited with today's discussion topic, and just give us a moment as we tap in here and get prepared to bring forward some information. We did sync up our energies beforehand, so nice to open up that Starseed portal. But I do want to start with some information about Marley and I and the work that we do. She kind of already talked about our mission and purpose, but really what happened is when I started to receive some information about the events that are unfolding right now, larger scale, Spirit came through with a very strong analogy for why Marley and I are messengers for the information and the ascension process that's unfolding right now. So they told me that it is very similar to having acne and going to your primary care physician to be treated for the acne. I know what you're thinking. You're like, where is this going? But going to your primary care physician or doctor for acne, it
Gets
could,
you nowhere.
yeah, and it can help.
Speaking from experience.
Well, it could help some. Like, they might be able to give you some tips. They might be able to do something for it, but they're not ultimately a specialist in skin, right? You actually need to go to a dermatologist who actually specializes in that area to receive whatever you need to help that skin issue, right? So it's the same thing with Starseed lineage and mission and purpose from Marley and I. We're specialists in those areas. We understand the events that are unfolding for the collective right now. We have a direct energetic connection to that because of how we serve the collective and our mission and purpose, and we're specialists in it. So you can go to whatever healer you want and see whatever they're saying or whatever they're bringing through or how they're bringing through information on what's unfolding large scale, what's unfolding in ascension, what's unfolding on Earth. But they're not specialists in this information the way Marley and I are, right? This is part of our spiritual gifts and how we channel information.
And it doesn't mean they're wrong. So I just want to make that clear too. Like, everybody's bringing forward messages as they receive them, and that's great. But this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what Lacey and I do. This is why we're here. This is what we incarnated with. This is what we're bringing forward. So take it or leave it. Obviously, what resonates with you, you want to take. If it doesn't, move along.
And so this leads me into this topic of discernment, which is coming through very strong. So I actually had an experience several weeks ago where I came across something on my feed, and it was a video in which someone was sharing their, I guess, like, channeled message or guidance for the collective right now. And I tried to watch the video. Honest to God, I did. but I couldn't watch it. Frequency-wise, it was like nails on a chalkboard for me.
She even she even unmuted it at like, she had it playing out loud, and I was in the same room, and I was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Get that off!" Like, I couldn't even handle hearing the it wasn't what they were saying, it's like, literally, I couldn't handle hearing the voice.
Yeah, it was not an energetic match or frequency for me, and the information was obviously not for me. Obviously, there's people that it probably was helping, but it was part of spirit pushing us to hold a call and share our information and our channelings, because I know that everybody resonates with someone different. And if something doesn't resonate with you, maybe it's not the messenger for you, right? Or maybe you just don't want to hear the message. No, I'm just kidding. So it's similar to that where they were like, okay, like we're pushing you forward, and this is why we're pushing you forward, because these people are doing it and it doesn't resonate with you, which means your voice and frequency carries something forward for the collective in which they need to hear it from you, and they need to hear your truth, and they need to hear the information you share. But everything we share comes from a neutral place because we just receive it from spirit. We're not like attaching emotion to it.
And that discernment piece is really important. It's about, just finding what resonates with you, and from a place of truth, right? From a place of truth and authenticity, because ultimately that's going to be a different vibration. You're going to feel that when you know something's true. That's why people get chills, right? It's a vibrational reaction to the energy that comes through when something is spoken at a pure level of truth and authenticity.
So what is said here is definitely for you if you are here right now and viewing it. But discernment
You made it this far and you haven't shut this off.
But discernment is key, okay? I'm receiving a lot of information about discernment based on these experiences of me witnessing other spiritual leaders or channels bringing forward information. And I'm seeing two different things, right? I am seeing the version of truth that is painted in rainbows, sunshine, and butterflies. And then I'm also seeing a version of the truth that is very
Cloaked in fear.
yes. Yes.
Finishing each other's sentences today.
Yes, but it's also like it's not helpful. Like people are saying very vague things like, I talked about this 5 years ago and the prophecy is coming true. And I'm like, what prophecy? Nobody knows what you're talking about.
And how does
Like,
it help when you're not giving context, right, to what you're sharing?
yes.
How does it help? It doesn't even help to say I was right. Like, I'm right. What's happening is what I predicted. Like, what's the purpose of that? What purpose does that serve? How is that helping anybody right now?
So, how can you exercise discernment with the information that you are taking in? We are at a pivotal time in history in which the information and the discourse online is very loud. The algorithm controls everything that you're seeing, and there's all this noise, and it's almost like, what do I trust? What do I believe in? And this is really a reminder for you to really feel it. Feel it with your heart, feel it with your gut. If you're a sacral, if you're someone that's very sensitive and can feel it, you need to be able to feel into whether it's for you or not. And the easiest way to do this is you're going to experience things that are not for you, where you're going to be like, ugh, ew, not for me. I don't like that, or I don't really understand that. So discernment is key with all the discourse online, with the information coming out. It's also not going to slow down anytime soon, okay? Things are just going to continue to ramp up this year.
And then the fear piece too. So there's this fear piece as well, just noticing when you feel fear bubbling up inside you, when you hear something or when something happens. It's not to shame the feeling of fear. Like, it's okay if you have moments where you feel fear, but where is that coming from? Right? Is it coming from fear of someone else and what they're sharing with you, or fear of the source of the information, right? If it's a media or if it's a collective group sharing the information, or even fear. The thing about fear is it's what pulls us out of the present, right? And so maintaining yourself in the present is really important right now. That's what they're that's what they're saying right now. It's really important that we maintain a sense of presence so that we can still exist outside of time. When you're in the present, Lacey and I talk about this all the time, you have everything you need in that moment. And that so when you do feel like you're veering off into like, that's scary, I can't believe that's happening, or that's scary, or and you start to feel that in your body, just know that it's okay to feel it, but ultimately you want to pull yourself back to the present too, and not let yourself be, not outsource yourself to the fear.
The other thing is there's lots of criticism online about who is using their platforms and what they're using it for. And I don't know how else to say this in any direct way other than not everyone is meant to be a messenger for what's going on right now. Not everybody is, okay? So if you're one of those people shaming others for not using their platform for X, Y, and Z, or not speaking up, or not posting a video, or not doing more, let me just remind you that you are not seeing every single part of their lives, okay? A platform is a platform. You only see this much of it, of what their actual life looks like. So just keep in mind, not everyone is meant to be a messenger. And that doesn't mean the people who aren't meant to be messengers aren't speaking up too, right? It goes both ways. Some people are like, I don't care, I'm going to speak up. But they're not really a messenger for it. Like, you have to keep that in mind. Not everyone has this as part of their mission.
I want to transition here. And I'm going to do it. It's pop culture reference coming in hot here.
Lacey and I have talked about this before with some of our smaller groups, but if you're not familiar with us, Spirit does often use pop culture references, movies, TV shows, things like that to communicate with us. So this is very common, especially in a disclosure discussion. But a couple weeks ago, Lacey and I had watched the Running Man, the new version with Glenn Powell. There's an older version as well with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this is a Stephen King novel for those who are wondering as well. Yes. And it's a very dystopian story. It's a futuristic universe. And in this story, in this universe, the main character is lower income, I'll say, lower income population. They are just struggling to get ahead, right? He and his wife literally just need to get enough money to get medication for their child. And so in this universe, there are these game shows where lower income populations compete to get money because they are just trying to stabilize their life. It's not even about getting ahead, it's about stabilization. And he, of course, goes to audition for a game show, gets selected for The Running Man. And The Running Man is a show in which they place like criminals or like a lower income individuals, and they essentially put this narrative around those who compete, and they make the public hate the people that are competing. They make the public actively root against the person who is competing. And in competing, you are essentially trying to evade hunters. If you lose this game, you literally get killed, okay? So mind you, the point that you are competing in this game, you are so desperate for financial resources, whatever it may be, that you would rather compete for your life or die for it. So Yep.
I quickly explain this because this is something that they are bringing through and have brought through to me as a direct comparison to what is happening in the US right now. In the US right now, we see this divide across certain groups of people or certain groups of the population. Specifically, yes, I'm going to call it out, the immigrant population, and then there's others, right, who are strongly against immigration, anti-immigration, whatever the phrase you want to use. And really, just like The Running Man, we have stories being told, right? There are stories being told to these groups of people, all of us in the US right now, across the world too. This is probably happening elsewhere as well, but this is the specific example they're giving me. And through these stories, it makes us feel a certain way. It makes us form an opinion, right? We're being told we should care about this thing. This thing might not even impact us, right? This policy might not even impact us, but we're starting to formulate an opinion on it because that's the story being told to us. We're seeing it on the news. We're seeing it everywhere we go. And so we start to formulate an opinion on it. And as Spirit says, those who formulate opinions on things that don't impact them, they only have that opinion because it's what they're being told to. They're being told to think this way. They're being told to feel this way. Just like the Running Man. Just like the groups of people on the Running Man who actively rooted against the person competing. You know, they're being told this person's a criminal, this person does bad things, and they want them to lose. The same thing is happening in the US right now. We see this divide being created from these stories. And ultimately, when you strip away the stories, all these groups of people, yes, they have certain needs, they might have different needs, but we're actually all quite similar. We're actually all the same. We actually all have probably very similar values. We probably want affordable healthcare. We probably want stable income. We want an education for kids, right? We have all the same values, but stories are being told. And the stories that are being told control or manipulate and affect the groups of people to feel different ways about each other.
Not to get on the Matrix soapbox here, but this is also more than just about being told. It's being conditioned and programmed to
Yes.
be a certain way by
And
the
that's
Matrix.
how, right? That's all through it's through everything from the upbringing that you have, but also through what you're consuming, right? Like how society is structured and what the media is telling you, what the government is telling you, what you hear at work, what you hear from those around you. Like it's all compounded to make you into who you are, right? And how you're conditioned and how you're programmed.
The phrase of what they just told me was the enemy of the Matrix is a free thinker, is an
Yes.
independent thinker.
Yes.
And
Because when you strip it all away and you truly have freedom, what's left? The truth? Or is it just a pure authenticity of your opinion?
and there's a lot of a couple of different things and how the information's coming through. There is a lot of, I can't think of the word. There's a lot of individuals who are choosing to not wake up or choosing to look the other way or be ignorant of what is going on around them. And the events that are unfolding are ramping up and getting more intense as time goes on. These events wouldn't need to happen if people would wake up.
Trauma awakens, right? That's what they just said to me.
And humans often learn through pain or discomfort, right? And so if you can just imagine that what is unfolding, right? This, I want to call it civil discourse or like I don't want to call it an uprising, but like it's like a unrest. I want to call it.
Well, it's a divide. It's a complete divide. That's how they explain it to me.
It is. It's a divide, and it's like a big shift. It's like a paradigm shift.
It's
seeing it
just continued divisions across these groups of people.
Yeah, but I'm seeing it like a paradigm and how we're like splitting off because there's a group of people who are refusing to wake up, and then there's these events that are happening that are leaving like
you see it now.
Yes. They're like shockwaves and ripples that are happening in the collective to wake more people up to say, hey, do you see what's going on now? How about now? How about now? You don't see it yet? Okay, I guess it's going to get a lot fucking worse before you can see it. So eventually it's going to reach a plateau because the individuals who are refusing to look at it or saying, nope, this is where I stand and I'm not changing. That's where the paradigm shift is going to happen, right? And that's where like Earth's ascension is really going to hit like a tipping point. That is where we're going to see the two realities divide.
And it's not about right and wrong, like how they explain it to me. It's not right and wrong. There's not one group that's more right or more wrong than the other, but it is, you know, as we talk about ascension in this polarity spectrum, we talk about positive and negative polarities, and again, positive or negative, that means nothing, not right or wrong. We're trying to reach an integration point, a point of balance, right? In the middle. That's what it really is. Like it's just how do we move from this divide and separation into integration? How can we get these groups to integrate? Because ultimately, when you strip away the programming, when you strip away the conditioning, you strip away the stories that are being told to make people feel a certain way, to control or manipulate the group, And we see the unity consciousness. We see that we all actually are very similar. All that's left is a bird's eye view of the game board. And when you see the whole game board and you see all the pieces, you can tell who's moving them. And you can change the direction the game's going. You can change how the game's being played.
And your discomfort, your ability to tune out the noise and tune in here to understand what's the truth, what I can trust, what I can't trust, that's going to be key here. Because if you don't know how you should feel about something, that's your signal to do some inner reflection on what do I feel about this? What do I think? To give yourself the space from all of the noise to get clear on what you're actually feeling about something and what it comes down to. And then the other thing they're bringing up too is, it's okay to be emotional or angry about things. It's okay to have strong opinions about things, but like as Lacey's saying, like what really matters within, like deep down where do you want to be putting that energy? Like, is it going to create more alignment for you on your path if you're obsessing over something, right? And putting your energy towards it, or is it better for you to you can see it for what it is, you can have the emotion and acknowledge it, but not let it completely overtake everything you're doing or your path or your alignment. And then they're talking a bit about the initiators. So it kind of sticks with a Running Man theme here because
everybody's gonna go watch the Running Man after this. I'm telling you, so many messages came through watching that.
But Glenn Powell, at some point, his character gets told that, like, you're going to be the initiator. And he's like, I don't want to be the initiator, but he is the initiator. And there's a couple different initiators right now for the collective. And they're being non-specific in that, okay? Like, they're not going to, like, tell you who they're talking about. It's non-specific. But these initiators have not decided yet what to do. And it has a lot to do with proactive and reactive, right? So it's like almost like offense, defense. If the initiators wait too long to take action or do what they're meant to do to initiate, because there is free will involved, right? We have free will to change things. Then that's going to have a certain outcome for another group of individuals who are going, let's call them the reactors or the agitators. I don't know what to call them. Reactors, I want to say, because it's almost like what they're going to do, like they know what they're going to do, but if the initiators step up and initiate, it's going to change what happens over here.
Yeah, I think one thing that's very obvious is there's so many, I just have to acknowledge Lacey and I have to acknowledge, like, there's so many people out there right now,
Yes.
predicting, so many awakened individuals right now, I guess is the best way I can put this, predicting wars, things like that for the United States. That has not been determined yet. Okay, so just want to make that very clear. Lacey and I don't necessarily. This is the comparison being made right now. Another pop culture reference we'll bring in here. I think Lacey and I talked about this before, maybe on Disclosure Calls, but it is like in Twilight. So in the Twilight saga, Alice Cullen sees the future, but the future will change. Like, as she's seeing it, the vision can start to change. And that is because free will, right? And people make decisions, and that's going to change the future, change the timeline that they're on, things like that. That's the same thing happening right now, is that there's not one vision being held. Sure, there's a timeline maybe where war or destruction might be what happens, but there's not one vision being held right now because, as Lacey said, those initiators haven't made certain decisions. So Spirit says time and time again, we should not fear what hasn't been decided yet. Okay?
And we're the creators of our reality. So if all of us are out here calling in a reality in which something disastrous happens, okay, that reality is going to happen for you if you believe in that and co-create it. But if a bunch of us are focusing on a different outcome, chances are the outcome's going to change, right? It's what you believe. I truly believe like we all are capable of quantum leaping and changing timelines, and the timeline of the greatest good for Earth's ascension that you're on, we'll see. Because even with bad things that happen, there's still good that comes out of it, right? And sometimes things need to burn down to be rebuilt better because they're broken the way they are built right now.
And, the level of burning down that needs to be done hasn't been decided yet. So, again, like, I don't think it's something to be afraid of either. Like, when Lacey and I receive these messages and as we're sharing them today, like, there's no fear in how any of this is shared. It's just this is what we're experiencing on Earth right now. And it helps us determine how to feel. Like, I don't want to say how to feel, but it helps us determine how, like, we can decide how much we want to let it influence us.
Yeah, because we're all sovereign in our energy, right? So we get to choose what we consume, what we take on. You read a fear-based headline and you're like panicked, like, oh my God, this is what's gonna happen, and da 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 da. That you're letting that take root, right? You're letting that seed take root, and you don't have to let that seed take root.
I mean, we are by no means the we do not consider I don't consider myself to be the most informed person in the world, but I do take a very balanced approach of I'm aware of what's happening. I mean, Lacey and I work in government. We're aware of we're aware of what is happening, but we can decide, right, how we're reacting and where we want to put our energy and how much we want to consume too. So like balancing out, I mean, it's really all about that ascension integration, like balancing out the consumption. It's kind of like the consumption versus creation, right?
Yeah, and we also, like we are on a timeline in which whatever happens, no matter what the outcome is, we know that it's the best thing for Earth's ascension. We know that it's the
Yes.
best thing for our journeys to experience it, even if it causes unrest
Destruction.
and destruction and upset. We know that what that's for. And there are plenty of souls who are in positions to lead as examples or serve as agitators or leaders or initiators that are going to be called into the right place at the right time. We can't control one single outcome on our own. We can only do that when we're all connected. And this is really where it gets into unity consciousness, really, and how we are all more powerful when we are moving and serving from a place of one and whole rather than divide and difference.
Yes. I mean, unless you're receiving anything else, I kind of just want to recap.
Yeah, I think you can recap. You can pop questions in the chat if you have any. Otherwise, that's kind of the bulk of what they're going to have us share today and have us move through. It's all about that discernment, and
discernment is very important. Figuring out what resonates with you. Remembering that when you do take a step back and you strip away that programming, stripping away the stories that are being told, finding, going deep within in the present moment and finding within yourself what's impacting you and what matters most right now, ultimately, we're all the same in that unity conscious concept, right? That we have more similarities, I think, than differences. And I think it's sad that most people aren't realizing that.
So use discernment in the information and all of the news, headlines, media, and information that you are consuming and pulling into your energetic field, because it is impacting you whether you're conscious of it or not. And at this time, really figure out what resonates with you and what doesn't resonate with you, because there's just a lot to choose from out there, and it's really difficult sometimes to figure out where you stand and what you want to believe in or what you feel is accurate.
And then lastly, to not fear. Nothing has been decided yet. Yes, there are initiators out there, but there is still free will at play here. We do not need to fear what hasn't been decided. All right. If there's no questions, I mean, you can still comment and we'll do our best to respond to things, but hopefully this helps you a little bit understand of what's happening. Uh, at least what's unfolding, I think, in the US right now. It's the best way I can put it. If you are interested in working one-on-one with Lacey and I, you can head over to our website. We do work with individuals on their ascension path. Um, Particularly, it starts with that twin magic reading. It starts with uncovering and connecting to your cosmic origins, understanding your mission, and understanding where you can create more alignment on your path.
And with that, take care of yourselves. There's a lot of emotions right now, so just give yourself grace as you navigate these waters. There isn't a right or wrong answer to how to respond right now with where the world is. It's chaotic, and um buckle up because I think there is going to be a lot more chaos coming.